Samson, a prominent biblical figure, looms large in the book of Judges, showcasing the divine gifts of extraordinary strength and consequences of breaking sacred vows. Chosen by God as a judge and leader during a time of Philistine oppression, Samson's tale is one of heroism, betrayal, and ultimate redemption. His legendary might, an attribute believed to derive from his Nazirite vow, is at the heart of his narrative. This divine gift is demonstrated through awe-inspiring acts, including the slaying of a lion with his bare hands, the astonishing defeat of 1,000 Philistines using the jawbone of a donkey, and the remarkable feat of carrying the city gates of Gaza for miles. These astounding displays of power symbolize God's intervention and underline Samson's pivotal role in delivering the Israelites from their oppressors. But his incredible strength is not without vulnerability, as Samson's story takes a tragic turn when he encounters the treacherous Delilah. The consequences of this encounter, his blinding and enslavement by the Philistines. Now you might be wondering what led to Samson's downfall and how God ultimately restored his strength. Find the answers as we delve deeper into this fascinating story of Samson in this video. It was a reoccurring pattern in Israel's history. The people in their forgetfulness turned away from God and started worshiping idols. This forsaking of the Lord led to dire consequences. The Philistines, their enemies, took the opportunity to oppress and ridicule them. The Israelites, burdened by this suffering, cried out to God for salvation. He heard their pleas and decided to appoint a judge unlike any before. This judge wouldn't lead any army, but would possess unmatched strength, mightier than any Philistine, becoming a figure the Philistines would fear. Amid this troubled time, a good woman named Manoah's wife found herself alone one day, her heart filled with a deep longing for children. She had prayed to God earnestly, seeking the gift of a child. An angel of the Lord appeared to her, delivering a message of hope. "I know you're waiting long for a child. God has heard your prayers, and you will soon welcome a son into your life." The prospect of having a baby filled her with immense joy, and she hurried to share this blessing with her husband. Manoah, equally thrilled, said, "This is wonderful news. God's goodness shines upon us. Yet I hope the angel returns to guide us on how to raise this extraordinary child." And indeed, the angel reappeared, imparting the unique nature of their son. Manoah and his wife were entrusted with a sacred promise known as the Nazirite vow. They were to pledge that to their child, Samson, would never cut his hair, touch a dead body, or consume alcohol. Even during pregnancy, Manoah's wife was to abide by these restrictions. They were bound never to break this solemn vow. When Samson was born, Manoah and his wife named him, and they instilled in him the significance of the Nazirite vow. He was to honor this promise always, never cutting his hair and abstaining from alcohol. As a young man, Samson left the familiar hills of his people and ventured into the cities of Philistia. It was there that he encountered a love so profound that it defied the boundaries of tradition and lineage. This love took the form of a Philistine woman from Timnah, a love so fierce that Samson resolved to marry her, disregarding his parents' objections. They were troubled by the fact that she was not an Israelite, but little did they know this seemingly unconventional choice was woven into the divine tapestry of God's grand plan to strike at the Philistines. Divine interventions mark Samson's extraordinary journey. The Spirit of the Lord repeatedly seized him, bestowing upon him immense strength. The first instance of this exceptional strength was when Samson sought the Philistine woman's hand in marriage. Along the way, he encountered a ferocious lion. In a display of divine empowerment, he effortlessly seized the beast and tore it asunder. This miraculous feat, however, remained a closely guarded secret, one he didn't even share with his parents. Having arrived at the Philistine woman's house, Samson's wedding was celebrated, and he returned home, only to return to Timnah later for the wedding. Along this journey, he encountered a strange sight. Bees had made a home in the carcass of the lion he had slain, producing honey. Samson, without revealing the source of this honey, tasted it and shared it with his parents. The wedding feast was the setting for a captivating riddle that Samson posed to his 30 groomsmen, all Philistines. The terms were clear. If they could solve the riddle, he would provide them with 30 pieces of fine linen and garments. If not, they would give him the same. The riddle was a cryptic account of his encounters with the lion, known only to him. The groomsmen, vexed by the riddle, turned to Samson's new wife, threatening to burn her and her father's household unless she unveiled the riddle's answer. Driven by fear and tears, Samson's bride implored him for the solution, and he eventually revealed it to her. She, in turn, conveyed it to the groomsmen. Before the sun set on the 7th day, they approached Samson with the riddle's answer, inquiring, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson responded, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." In a series of daring actions, Samson journeyed to Ashkelon, where he slew 30 Philistines and claimed their garments. He then returned these garments to his groomsmen. When Samson returned to his father's house, only to discover that his bride had been given to one of the groomsmen as a wife. Samson's quest for retribution was fierce. He gathered 300 foxes, pairing them and tying burning torches to their tails. The fiery foxes ran through the Philistines' grain fields and olive groves, and formed an act that left the Philistines in turmoil. In retaliation, the Philistines burned Samson's wife and her father to death. Consumed by anger and pain, Samson unleashed his fury upon the Philistines, proclaiming, "I have done to them what they did to me." His vengeance knew no bounds. Seeking refuge in a cave in the rock of Edom, Samson's actions sparked a demand from the Philistines, who insisted that the tribe of Judah deliver him to them. Samson, agreeing on the condition that the Judahites would not be ones to kill him, allowed them to bind him with 2 new ropes. However, he would prove that his strength was far from diminished, breaking free from the rope's confines. Armed with the jawbone of an ass, he single-handedly slew a staggering 1,000 Philistines, leaving an indelible mark on his story. Subsequently, Samson's travels take him to the city of Gaza, where he encounters a woman engaged in the world's oldest profession. His enemies wait at the city gate, plotting to ambush him. However, Samson, fueled by his exceptional strength, rips the gate from its very hinges and frame and carries it to the hill that stands before Hebron. In a valley named Sirach, love takes an unexpected turn for Samson. It's here that he falls head over heels for Delilah. The cunning Philistines, aware of this action, approach Delilah with an enticing offer of 1,100 silver coins in exchange for the secret of Samson's unparalleled strength, the key to capturing their elusive foe. Samson, however, is more willing to relinquish his secret. He teases Delilah, informing her that his strength will wane if he's bound with fresh bowstrings. During his slumber, she takes the opportunity to tie him with these bowstrings, but her efforts prove futile as he awakens and effortlessly snaps them. Undeterred, Delilah persists, and Samson playfully hints that new ropes would be his undoing. She obliges, tying him up with new ropes while he sleeps, only for him to break free once more upon waking. Again, she presses him, and he reveals that his strength can be sapped if his locks are woven into a weaver's loom. To her dismay, he dismantles the entire loom when he awakens. Delilah's determination is unwavering, and Samson finally yields to her relentless entreaties. He confesses the source of his strength lies in his consecration to God as a Nazirite. A razor has never touched his hair, symbolizing his vow to the Almighty. He divulges that if his hair were shorn, this sacred commitment would be broken and his strength would vanish. Delilah, using her charm, lulls Samson to sleep in her lap and signals a servant to carry out the final act. The serpent shears his hair, and Samson, in the fateful moment, loses his strength. He falls into the hands of the Philistines, who, in a cruel and brutal act, gouge out his eyes, leaving him blind. Subdued and weakened, he's taken captive to Gaza, where they imprison him and force him into the laborious task of turning a massive millstone, grinding grain under the cruel command. A day arrives when the leaders of the Philistines gather in their grand temple to offer a religious sacrifice to Dagon, one of their most revered deities. They believe that Dagon has bestowed upon them the triumph of capturing Samson, and they wish to celebrate this victory. They summon Samson to be paraded before the assembled crowd, to be a spectacle for their amusement. The temple is brimming with people, so much so that even the roof is lined with onlookers. All the eminent rulers of the Philistine government are present, a congregation of about 3,000 souls. Samson is led into the temple, and he seizes the opportunity to request that he be allowed to lean against the supporting pillars to find a moment of respite. However, during his time in captivity, his hair has slowly begun to grow back. In this critical moment, he turns to God, seeking strength again. The Almighty grants his plea, infusing him with the power he desperately needs. Samson, with renewed vigor, pushes against the two massive pillars. The temple quakes, its foundations crumble, and in a resounding crash, it collapses upon him and all those gathered within. In the aftermath of this catastrophic event, Samson's family recovers his lifeless body from the wreckage. They lay him to rest near the tomb of his father, Manoah. A monument attributed to Samson and his father stands atop Mount in Tel Tzorah, a lasting tribute to his legacy. However, another tradition, preserved by the traveler Isaac Chilo in 1334, suggests that Samson's final resting place may be at the monument known as Al-Jarab in Sheikhu Abu Mezer, a now ruined village located near Tel Be'ez Shemesh. This site, known for hewn rock with various impressions, is believed to be the altar constructed by Manoah. As we conclude our exploration of Samson's captivating story, we're reminded of a valuable lesson. While God gifted Samson with incredible strength, it is a stark reminder that power should be wielded with humility and reverence, bringing glory to God rather than showcasing for personal gain. Samson's journey teaches us that the Lord can grant and withdraw his gifts in the blink of an eye. From the depths of humiliation and despair, Samson's experiences are divine intervention as God restores his strength for one final, remarkable showdown. In this ultimate act of redemption, Samson, though sacrificing his own life, becomes a formidable force against Israel's enemies, surpassing all his earlier boasts and acts of revenge. Now, dear viewers, we invite you to share your thoughts on this compelling narrative and the lesson it imparts. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you will get all our engaging content.